Hey guys, welcome back to Stories of a Dandelion. Today I get to talk with my friend and sister, Kayleen. We take a deep dive into her childhood and events that brought her to some dark places in her life. But a hope reached out and pulled her out from that pit of despair. Today, she is able to share her story of love and community that continues to support her in her everyday life. This is her dandelion story. These episodes are intended for mature audiences. Viewer and listener discretion advised. Hey guys, just letting you know that there is a baby in this episode, so you will hear her throughout the episode. So when you do, just remember that she is a sweet little miracle. Ooh, we are in season 2. I can't believe it, but here we are. Season 2, we have Kayleen, my underwear buddy, who I have not talked to in such a long time. We might share that story with you guys of how that nickname came about. We might not. I don't know. You have to stick around and find out. But welcome to the podcast, Kayleen. Thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. All right. First question. If you're 18 and you're graduating in 2023, what advice would you give yourself?
Such a loaded question. I would tell myself to bet on myself and to find more confidence, because I feel like in high school, we're always comparing. Even to this day, with social media, we still compare, but I feel like, especially in high school, it was hard not to compare to like everybody around you.
Yeah.
Especially with cliques.
Mm-hmm.
When you have those certain cliques in high school, and it's like you look at them and you just want to be like them, or like you have the smart kids and you want to be like the smart kids, but you don't really just fit in everywhere, and then you get that self-doubt all the time. And I feel like, me personally, I felt like I wasn't smart enough, and I felt like I always need reassurance, but I never really got that because I was the eldest of 5 kids. So it was like, I don't want to blame my parents, because my parents did the best they could with 5 kids. Yeah. And it's just that each person, I feel like, needs a little bit more reassurance than the other. And I feel like I didn't get enough reassurance to bet on myself and feel like I could do a lot more. Like, I just felt like I lacked confidence in high school.
Okay, so let's talk about, life as a military brat. So tell me your life from being born all the way up to how Miss Kayleen is today.
Oh boy. Well, younger me, I feel like I was a free-spirited person. My mom was really, really young when she had me. And I always lived like, oh, I'm so scared. I don't want to have a baby so young. And like, I just had this thing where I feel like it kind of made me a little self-centered, because I was the girl in the family. Like, I was the only one. Like, and my aunt tried to get me into like modeling and stuff. And then you thought this head was big. You thought this head was big. It was bigger then. But, and then somewhere down the line, once we started moving around, when my mom got married to my stepdad, that's when I think self-confidence started plummeting, because starting over at a new school, I didn't move around a lot, because he was already in the military when my parents met. And I was in elementary school already. I think I was in like 4th or 5th grade. But by then I had already gone to like 3 different 5th grade classes in a matter of 1 school year. And I had to adjust to going from one base to then moving across the states to Texas to another school and then to another school. And then I got bullied a lot in Texas. Surprisingly enough, because I was white and Asian. I know. But being stationed at Fort Hood was crazy. But then again, it is Fort Hood. So it took a turn when I moved to Belgium because I somehow managed to become the new girl at school. And if you went to Shape, then you know the new kid is always a popular kid. And it was a really weird time. I remember meeting Manasa and I was like, who is this fool? Who is this guy? Why is he talking to me like this?
That's what we do. We welcome. We try to welcome as much as possible. It can be scary.
I still can't even believe I took drama.
I mean, what else? You were going to take art or like, is that all? It's like, you had to take one or the other, right?
I think it was like art and drama, and I was like, I'm not artistic. I could draw a stick figure, and it looked maybe okay. I don't know. But, yeah. But now I think Belgium really shaped, though, like I lacked confidence in high school, but then as I got older and I came back to the States, I feel like the confidence I had to gain back, I worked extra hard.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, I went from being an extrovert to now an introvert because I used to not care, like, and I would talk to everybody because Shape was so small compared to being at school in the States.
Mm-hmm.
But then now I'm, like, really reserved because I'm always, oh, that's awkward. That's my husband.
I know, it's not about to wave.
But I feel like now, like, I don't talk to a lot of people anymore. I kind of keep to myself, and I feel like it's a lot harder for me to, like, make friends because I'm not the same person that I once was, and especially because I gave my life to Christ a few years ago. And, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I'm not at all what I was then. Like, I feel like I had this whole different, like, life, and it feels like when I look back at Shape, it was like a fantasy. Because now I'm such an introvert. Like, I don't like talking to people. Like, if you had me go up and go order stuff,
She's like, it's my turn.
she always makes these noises. And she's not even awake. She's sleeping.
Oh. But yeah, I get what you mean. Like, same thing for me. Extrovert in high school, and now I'm kind of like, I talk to people, but like, it's like if I have to, if I don't have to talk to you, I'm not really gonna talk to you. If I don't have to make friends, I could care less about making friends anymore.
I know, because, like, I feel like at Shape, like, you wanted to be friends with everybody.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's just easier that way. The more people you know, the better it is. Like, I feel like, yes, we had bad blood with certain people, but, like, at the same time, like, we all still kind of had each other's backs in some way or form.
Yeah.
But now it's just like, I don't care. I'm just going to stay in my lane because I know I belong right here.
Do you think it's like the older we get, like the more responsibility and stuff like that? So it's just like you don't have time for the nonsense and the drama of like other people.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And I'm kind of grateful for it, like, because there was so much drama in high school. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody knew everybody, but, like, it was just, like, little drama. It wasn't, like, crazy big drama, but it was just, like, dumb stuff that we would, like, allow to bother us. Like, we would allow so many things to affect us. And it's, like, looking back, it's like, but was it really that deep?
No.
And I feel like in high school we lost a lot of friends because, well, like, at least for me, because I know, like, Lonnie and I have no bad blood. Like, I talk to her every now and again, but I feel like her and I, our relationship, for instance, because her and I were so close in high school, And then like, I don't want to say like junior or senior year, that's when it just like started falling back. And then she started hanging out with a different group. I started hanging out with a different group. And it was nothing necessarily bad or anything. It's just like we became different people.
Yeah.
And it's like today, now we're different people. Now we're talking to each other again because we both have being a mom in common.
Yeah. It's weird. Yeah, it's weird how like it becomes like full circle after years. I also think like our hormones finally like balance out, and like we look back and we're like, oh, that was dumb.
Seriously dumb. Like I can think of so many things that happened in middle school where I was like, today, like me today, I'd be like, I would pray. I would pray over myself and be like, God, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Please don't do it again. I hate this awkward encounter, but you know, you will have your way. But middle school me would be drama big baby and just like make a whole ordeal about it because I'm like, oh my gosh, my life is falling apart because of stupid stuff. No, like, it's just so silly.
Yeah.
Like, my eyes were not set on the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I do remember some of your big outbursts.
Girl, I was wild. I was wild. Somebody needed to backhand me back then. I did not need to be like that.
So like what do you think? Like, so you say it was maybe the reassurance. How did that affect you like mentally in like middle school and stuff like that? Because you had those big outbursts, but what were the emotions around those outbursts and stuff like that?
Well, so, I mean, if we want to really get down to the nitty gritty, I had a really tough time, like, accepting, like, being a stepdaughter, I think. And my family was going through a lot, like, a lot. Like, we were trying so hard to, like, maneuver around, like, everybody's emotions in our family. Because, like I said, I'm the eldest of 5.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I had Serena, who's my sister, just she was having her hormones and then my hormones on top of that. And we fought a lot with my dad, like a lot. It was so bad that it just, I think we put ourselves in a secluded situation where we felt like we just couldn't rely on anybody. And so I think like not having the reassurance that everything would be okay and everything would pan out and like we would all be fine. Everything like in every like situation, I feel like that affected me and gave me a lot of anxiety. Like a lot. Like I feel like because I was always so unsure of what was going to happen next and because of the moving around and because of the relationship with my stepdad, I feel like it just gave me so much anxiety that I just didn't even know what to do with it. And then I think it was like 6 months after I had graduated, or we had graduated, and I had lived in Washington, and my parents were in Hawaii. I ended up staying, I was supposed to go to Hawaii and go to school, but then I ended up staying in Washington. And I started having to go on medication for anxiety because I was at work and I would get so overwhelmed. And that never happened to me before. And I only took the medication for a few months because I don't really like medicine like that. But then I tried to find different ways to cope. And then I really dug deep in a journey of trying to like figure out why the heck I was having anxiety. And it took me a really, really long time. Like I said, I found Christ a couple of years ago. So when I say it took me a really, really, really long time, it took me like 8 years to get to where I'm at. Because in 2017, I actually had been in a relationship after high school. So from 2014, 2017, I was in a relationship. And that relationship ended because of a death. So that kind of like really really messed me up. So then I moved back to Hawaii and my anxiety came back. And that this is where my fear of funerals happened. So my anxiety came back, and then I didn't go back on medication. I still tried to figure out like what was going on. But then substance abuse, I want to say I just turned 21. I was drinking, I was partying. I thought I could live the best life and do whatever the heck I wanted. No one could tell me anything otherwise.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like I didn't want to feel anything. Like I wasn't crying anymore. I couldn't feel emotions because I just blocked everything out. Like it just, that was my breaking point. 2017 was my breaking point. And I was just like, this isn't right. This is not right at all. And then finally, when my husband and I got together, that's when I realized, like, because he told me that he was a Christian. And I didn't care. I was like, yeah, my family's not religious at all. I don't really care for it because I just don't have a relationship with God. And then he never like pushed anything on me. It was his mom. His mom got me to like start thinking like, So then when my anxiety attacks started tapering down, it was because I would have these conversations with her, and then I would think about like how much like I'm loved. And I think that was a big problem growing up. It was like the reassurance of making sure that everything was okay and making sure that I felt loved and I was cared for, because at the time my biological dad wasn't in the picture. Like, so that was another thing. It's just like all these things that you don't think about in that moment.
Yeah.
You think about it later on in life, and it comes right back, and it's like, that's what my anxiety is from? Like, what?
Yeah.
So it was a lot. It was a lot of change and kicking myself in the behind and realizing like my feelings are they're just my feelings. Like, it's not the truth.
Yeah.
And there's more out there than just my feelings. There's other people who feel way worse than I do, who are going through way worse things.
Yeah.
And I think I really wish like someone would have reminded me that in middle school and like freshman year.
Yeah.
Because like middle school and freshman year, I feel like I was just like, woo, chill out, girl. Chill out.
Yeah.
You and I, we would go head to head because we just did not care.
We really did go head to head in high school and stuff. And I used to tell you, I'd be like, girl, like, I try my best to keep my composure with you. But there are points where I'm just like, I'm done. Like, I can't do it anymore. I've done my best.
I know, I'm so sorry. When I look back, I'm like, man, Gina and I really had patience for each other, because there were some times where we should have fought and we did not fight. And it's a really good thing we didn't fight, because I feel like we would have thrown hands at each other.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah. I mean, like all relationships.
But like in a sisterly way. Like, I don't feel like it would have been like the end of a relationship.
Oh, no.
But I feel like we would have like smacked each other around and then we're like, all right, I love you. We're fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think we always had that. I think there was always moments in our relationship where it was like one day somebody would be like, oh, Kayleen asked about you, but like, why? I don't like her today. But then the next day, like, we'd be good. Like, I was like, yeah, like, you're my sister, that I was just like, oh, today, what is it today?
I know, man. Let me tell you, I don't know.
I'm just like, beauty of our relationship, though.
Yes, it was. And I feel like, because like me, you, Lonnie, because when did Leilani Somorotna leave?
She left after our freshman year.
Our freshman year, that's right. Yeah. So like we had our, like, cause like we started, I came at towards the end of middle school, but like we all went and started high school together, and we like stuck together. Yeah. But then like new people started coming. Yeah. So then like I feel like that's when we started branching out, and like our relationship started just kind of like we still were there for each other. We would still talk to each other, but it was just kind of like, all right, I'll see you later. Yeah. Over like, yeah, I think our sophomore year was kind of the last year that we kind of all hung out together. And then like, yeah, I think so. Senior year, we started just kind of
branching out to different people. And at the time, like, I don't think we understood, like, it just meant, like, we were changing. It felt like our friendships were breaking because, like, we weren't hanging out as much. But, like,
I feel that.
yeah, you know, you look back at it and it's like, oh, no. Like, we just weren't the same people we were when we started high school, and, like, things change.
Yeah, I think, not even gonna lie, like, I know, like, turn this light on. There we go. I know for me, like, I kind of felt like some type of way. Like, I was like, man, I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
It was just, like, came back from summer break and we started school again. It's like, dang, like, everybody's, like, so different now. Like, I feel like all these kids saying vibe. Oh, yes, I'll say it. The vibe wasn't right with everybody. So, like, everybody just, like, started doing their own thing. And I know for me, at least, I was just like, well, I guess I'll just hang out with my neighbors that I hang out with because I saw them all summer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was a big thing, though. I don't know, like, for some reason, 3 months can make a huge difference
Oh my
in,
gosh,
like,
I know.
friendships and stuff. And I think also, like, social media wasn't what it is now when we were in high school.
Oh, I know. We
So,
had
like,
to have minutes.
the kids who don't know, we had to go and buy some minutes, and if we ran out, our parents were definitely not buying us more.
My mom, can I have 15 euros, please? Like,
no, you better wait till next week. Wait till that
oh my
time when you
goodness.
can text for free. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we text each other all day, every day. So yeah, I think that change, it was weird though, because you just don't realize how much you change within high school and priorities and stuff. You think they're all the same, but then, like, you look back and you're like, oh well, I was trying to do this more and they were trying to do that more. So it was weird. And I think because we don't know how to make friends, because, like, we were all just kind of friends under the circumstance.
Yep.
And then, like, we found things in common. And then so when friendships break up, you don't know how to break up with a friend either. Like, because technically back then that would be considered weird. Because, like,
Yeah.
when friendship ends, it just ends. But it's basically a breakup with somebody you should tell everything to. And now it's like, you got to find somebody else.
I know. Because, like, I used to hang out my senior year. Like, that's when I started hanging out with, like, Ed Almeria. I don't even talk to him anymore. I have no idea how he's doing.
Me neither.
Because that was my neighbor.
Yeah.
And then, like, I hung out with Marjorie. Again, my neighbor. I mean, I see her still on social media. So, like, but I don't talk to her. But that's just the thing is, like, all these people have now changed. Like, we're all living our lives. We were living our lives with it. But, like, I just, like, think back because I was like, I see all of like those Facebook posts, like the throwbacks and stuff of like our old statuses and like what our dumb names used to be on Facebook. And I'm like, why are we doing that? And then it's like, then you like have these moments where you're like looking back at high school stuff. You're like, wow, when did that relationship stop? And like, why did it stop? Was somebody mad at somebody? Exactly. And I'm like, I don't even think that was what it was. And you're just like, did we just stop like being friends? Yeah. And so I know for like you and I, like we had classes together, but senior year I barely saw you. I barely saw you. And it was just because we didn't have a lot of classes together. And then even if we did have a class together, we weren't sitting next to each other.
But no, I remember, senior year, I was hanging out with me, Raquel, PJ, Tanner, and it was the constant going to school during the week, going downtown on the weekends.
See, and I didn't go downtown.
Yeah.
You know, my dad wouldn't allow that.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Yeah, so like that's what we did, and Tanner was the one that had the car, and I was working at the movie theater, so. Oh
my gosh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Good old movie theater, watching some free movies, free popcorn.
Oh my gosh, do you remember when we went to go see Justin Bieber?
Yes. I did. That was funny. It was funny. I don't know why we thought that was a good thing to do.
You know you love me. I know you care. Oh my gosh.
Justin Bieber isn't like the great. Yeah, he's a singer. It's just at the time he was going through a change in his voice, and it was just not the greatest. It's not the greatest tour at the moment at the time. Now, completely different. He's a full grown man.
He got a whole wife.
So yeah.
Oh my gosh. I just remembered that when we went to the movies, I forgot who all went, but I just remember the scene where he has shirts off and I'm like, Gina.
I don't know. Yep, that was me and Lonnie's boy crush. Oh my goodness.
Oh my
Thinking
gosh.
back now, it's just like, what were we thinking at the time? But it's life.
It was the hair. It was the hair for some reason.
It was
why was that so attractive?
I don't know, but it was attractive to all of us because every guy who was like in our school, like we were just like, oh my god.
But I have a name in my head, and I think you have a name in your head too.
Ooh, who do I have? I mean, I have
middle school.
Middle school. Are we talking about? I mean, Alex.
Grayson. Everybody had the hots for Grayson.
Everybody did have for my boy Grayson. I knew him. He was like my brother. So whenever somebody was like, I want to date him, I was like, good luck, have fun. He doesn't date. So
nope. Weird. Oh my gosh. Because that's when I first moved there, and I was like, that's who everybody was like trying to get their hands on because he was like the next JB.
Yeah, he looked like him. He didn't date anybody. I think he only dated like Libby, and then he like left.
Yeah, I think so.
Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick break to ask if you are enjoying this episode. Go ahead and follow us on Stories of a Dandelion right here on Spotify or wherever you're getting your podcasts, as well as follow us on all of our social media accounts. Let's create this community full of military brats who feel that they're okay with opening up about their mental health, about sharing their journey, what they're going through, and create a place for beautiful healing through stories. So again, please go ahead and follow us on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, as well as all of the social media accounts. Now let's get back to today's episode.
And what also reminds me of that is, remember the journals that we used to like write notes to each other?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I think it was like me and you had one, and then I think like me and Lonnie had one.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking back on that, I'm like, that caused arguments. That stuff caused arguments.
Like me and Lonnie used to write letters and like all of like, yeah, I think, yeah. Yeah, well, I think like the weirdest thing is like nobody does that anymore. So like, but we used to.
They would probably make fun of us.
They would. Yeah, we would write to each other all the time. Just like everybody would write to each other, and it just caused some friction because people thought they were being talked about in the letters, and yeah, but it was really just us talking about boys.
I know, and our sad hormonal feelings. Oh my gosh,
we were talking about boys. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're getting like way off track.
I know, right?
Let's be back on track.
We're reliving too many memories.
We are. It's been a while. It has been a while since we've talked. I'm glad we have connected again.
Yes.
But God, okay. So I'm trying to remember where we left off. So you said okay. So you took anxiety. You went through substance abuse for a little bit, and then you found Jesus, which, hey,
hallelujah.
Exact same. Like, even though I grew up in church, and you know my background, like, grew up in church. And like I told you, I went downtown. It took me until about, I think, 21, 22 for me to say I'm going to give my life, even then, like those 3 years were like still trying to get out of the old life and into like the new.
Yeah.
And it took a little while. Still not perfect. But I learned that it's more about a relationship and not being on this perfect path. So
Yes.
that's what I had learned over the years.
A few years to realize, like, okay, it's actually a relationship. It's not.
Yeah, it's not
It's not a religion. No.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that like I stepped out of that like idea and that thought process, because now like I can't even tell you the last time I had an anxiety attack.
Yeah, it does make a difference.
Yeah, I can't even tell you last time I had an anxiety attack, because now that I've allowed a different relationship in my life, I lean on that more than getting stuck into my own head like I did like in middle school, high school, and even after school.
That's good. So, like, are there other... So, like, you did hair for a minute, didn't you? Or
Nails.
nails?
So after high school, so I was going to go to school. Then I just started working. I started working right away. And then I went to school to be a nail technician, and I graduated. But then that was the year 2017. So literally right after graduation is when the accident had happened. And then I moved to Hawaii, which was never the plan. And so my life kind of just like flipped upside down, and I had a whole hot mess. Like, it was a whole hot mess. So then I haven't even gotten back into nails. I don't have a desire to really, like, I graduated from it, but like because of all the memories that I have with it, I just don't have a care for it. So then I started, well, actually I forgot. Before I did that, I was in school. I was in college online to be a teacher, which I'd actually always wanted to be a teacher. And so then, yeah, I went to school for nails. And then after that, I was working again. And then this past year, prior to this one, I was a preschool teacher. But then our school shut down, so I just didn't get back into it, because then we found out I was pregnant with my little bundle of joy. So now I'm homeschooling my boys.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you were going through that dark period, after you got out of it, how do you deal with that? Because I know, like, losing somebody like you truly love so much, and out of the blue, unexpected. How did you deal with that pain and that darkness?
Oh, Lord. Yeah, well, like I said, the substance abuse, I was just drinking a lot to numb the pain, and I was hanging out and just partying all the time, so I didn't have to feel anything. Because when you feel like that, you don't want to feel the horrible feeling of loss, because that's all it is. It's constant feeling of loss and emptiness. It really took some time to relearning to love myself, because I feel like after I lost somebody that I loved, like I felt like that was it. Like I wasn't going to be loved ever by somebody else. And I felt like just my self-worth was just gone, because I mean, we were in a relationship for almost 5 years. So, I mean, when you're with somebody that long and you put those walls down, it's hard to just restart. And when I met my husband, he made me feel so smart all the time. And he felt, because we got married quite like quickly, but he made me feel really, really smart all the time. And he gave me that reassurance that I had been missing all these years. Like, he's always reassured me, like, everything's gonna be okay. we can get through this together. It's always been like a team effort. And honestly, like, if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have been able to get out of that dark spot. And then meeting his mom, that really like kicked me into gear. And she always came off of in a loving way and not in like a tough love way. It's always just been like a gentle thing because I've already had the tough love. I needed that gentleness. My parents were tough. They smacked me upside the head one too many times. I was like, I just need somebody to hold me.
Oh my goodness.
It's just so true though.
Yeah.
It's like when this goes with how you and I fight with each other. Like I don't want to say like hothead because I mean,
no,
I got my temperament controlled, but like it gets to that aggression, but that's because the way we were raised. Yeah. Like that's just like we get that tough love all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need a little hug. You just need that gentleness. Oh, come on.
So the last thing I heard was it was tough, but your husband was helping you out of it. Mm-hmm. And his mom, the gentle is when we were laughing.
Yes.
Tough love. Okay.
Yes, because I feel like that's all I ever got. Like, I never got to like, I didn't need to be coddled. That's not what I'm saying. Oh, I just needed like, oh, come on.
You keep freezing, friend. I was like, oh my goodness, what is happening?
I'm catching everything you're saying. I don't know why it keeps freezing.
Oh my goodness. It's in there. I'm gonna edit it together. It's gonna work out. It's gonna work out great.
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Oh, okay.
We both had that tough love. Gentle love is definitely necessary. I completely understand you there. So she gave you what you needed. It seemed like, in the right time, the right people came into your life to give you what you needed to heal from your past.
Yes. Because you can't do it alone. You can never do it alone.
Not at all. So what are the things you do now for your mental health to help you continue to like be in a healthy space?
I have to take time to myself. Like I have to walk away from situations because if I do not take time to myself, like my brain just goes from like 50 different emotions all at once. And I can't be doing that in front of my kids. So they help keep me in check. So like I'll go to the room and sometimes what helps me is writing stuff down to like I'm a visual person. So like I have to see, like if I write like how I'm feeling and I like look back and read it, I'm like, okay, it's not that bad. And that usually helps me sort out like my emotions and I can think back on like, okay, is it really that big? And then I'll usually pray. And sometimes, I'm going to be honest, it doesn't always make me feel better. It does not always make me feel better because you need a physical being there sometimes. And sometimes God is always there. He never left my side. Yes. But it's always nice to, go back and forth with the conversation.
Oh, yeah. So you can't do anything alone. It's in the Bible. Like, man,
exactly. So I usually try to talk to my husband, and then even if it's a little spat with my husband, I go call him my mama. Even I call his mama. She reassures me that I haven't completely lost it.
Not completely, just slightly, but not completely.
Just a little bit, because we all a little crazy. Yes, no, but it's hard, but like I feel like honestly having my kids and me wanting to be healthy for them has really, really helped me like step back in situations. And I usually know when I get to a point of just too much anxiety or too much overwhelming, and I try to step back before it gets any worse because I never want my kids to see me in that really, really bad hard spot. And I always want to talk to my kids about their emotions and explain to them that their emotions are valid and that they are healthy to go through all their emotions. But I also can't completely go full breakdown mode in front of like my 2 toddlers.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to understand that. And they're not old enough for me to explain that, because they're going to think the scary things first, because that's what all kids do.
Yeah.
So I try to get a moment to gather myself. And then afterwards, if I'm feeling okay to speak, then I kind of explain to them like, okay, mommy was feeling overwhelmed here. Y'all need to chill out. We need to take a beat.
That's good. Like teaching them mental health early, because like we weren't taught that. Like it was the block that was missing in our life. So in what ways, other than like you explaining like your emotions to them, like what ways are you showing them that their emotions are okay and that feeling them is fine, and that we all go through like these different spats and stuff?
So because my oldest is 4, I ask him like how he's feeling. And if he's mad, I'm like, it's okay to be mad. You can be mad all you want. But like, he's at that age where he's hitting his brother. So I'm like, you cannot hit. You can be mad. And if you're feeling mad, go to your room and take time to yourself. Like, I allow him to go have moments to himself in his room where he can feel safe and just like gather himself a little bit better to where he's at that point to talk. So he kind of does the same thing that I do, other than the writing. But I always try to remind them too, is that God's always with us. God is always with us, and he's always here to help us. His favorite thing to say right now is God saves me. He says it all the time with anything and everything, and it's the cutest thing. He's like, God saves me all the time. Yeah, God's in my heart. God saves me. I'm like, yes, he does. So I think that kind of like helps reassure him, like, everything's gonna be okay. I got God by my side. He's my superhero. We're gonna be all right.
Yeah. Yeah, because for kids like his age, like imaginary friends, they're real. Like I don't like the
yes,
reality of it is like real. So like him not being able to see God, it's no different for him. So
he always says he's in his heart, but I think as a parent, like what we tell our kids is so important, because they're sponges and they take everything in. And like, just like us, like our parents would say things to us. I feel like our parents said some scary things to us. They're gonna mess us up.
Their parents said things and our parents said things. And
they didn't. There's things that they didn't say too, and then our mind goes to different places. Oh man, let me tell you.
Yeah,
the mind is a scary place.
Very, very, and it's like barely touched the surface of what we know about it. So
I know
it's crazy, but it's good. Like that we're changing the conversation for the next.
I agree, because I feel like yeah, with TikTok and reels and stuff, everybody's talking about things and making things just like known. But at the same time, like, are people actually doing things, like taking action in their lives, like doing stuff to help them, other than just like posting a video about it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like everyone's still kind of scared to go see a therapist, but it's becoming more popular, I want to say.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally haven't seen a therapist since I was a kid, but I feel like I'm pretty comfortable in where I'm at.
Uh-oh. You froze again. Pause.
I love that.
Bloop, pause.
Oh, come on.
Play. Yes. We're back.
The Wi-Fi is trash. It's probably because I live in the country.
I don't know. I live in the country too, my friend.
But I don't know. I got some good Wi-Fi, I thought.
You know, sometimes it's just that. It's just some of those days it don't work as good as the others.
It's probably because my husband's watching football.
Oh, that could be it too.
I'm going to blame him.
Yeah, we're going to blame him. What you doing, man?
It's his fault.
Taking all the juice.
I don't even know who's playing right now. Is it even important?
Who knows? I don't even know your husband. I'm just sitting here taking all the juice.
my goodness.
Yeah. But
Do you feel like you're in a good place these days?
yeah, I feel like I'm in a lot better place than even a year ago. Because this year I decided to be sober for a year. And well, I was starting with January, but then it turned into the year. And it just kind of, it's one of those things where it's like I reevaluate alcohol. Not one, it was, am I known for alcohol? Like, did my friends hang out with me in high school because of it? And then, like, are we still friends because of it? Which was a stupid question. Like, it was a dumb question because we hung out 9 times out of 10 without alcohol. But, like, the times you remember are when you're out and partying. So the question answered itself before I even started the journey of it. And then the other one was just like family. Like, our relationship with alcohol can be dangerous. So I just wanted to reevaluate it for myself to make sure I wasn't going down that road. And so it's been a good year. I've been, like I said, I decided to do this podcast. Kind of been on that social media thing and stuff like that. But I did start therapy this year, which was kind of weird. Mostly because I didn't know anything about therapy, but started therapy this year. Feel like I found a
Do you
good
like
person.
it?
Yeah. I feel like my therapist, she helped me through, because I used to look at my college years in like the most negative way possible. But she was like, but you got through all that. Like, you got through, you know, coming to a country that you had no idea about, that you were only born in, like you were only born in, really, and then left, and then to come back to a place that's so foreign to you. You created a better relationship with your dad and your sister, and you graduated with your bachelor's degree.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Did you forget that?
But you look at all the, like, I looked at all the bad times. Like, I looked at the times where I decided to, play basketball, and then my eczema started like freaking out. And I look at the time where I was sitting in the corner by myself crying in the dark because I felt so alone. I didn't know what to do, or I put all, the pressure of myself because, when I went back to Shape and they all found out I was playing basketball, they were telling me, you put Shape on the map and all these other, stupid things that I put on myself. And I put on myself that I was helping Shape become Shape. And, and, for people to come and, see other athletes that were like me. Dumbest thing to do.
That's a lot of weight.
It was. But once I quit basketball, I was like, psh. I just hung out with the right people. I found other military brats that had an understanding of what I was going through, and hung out with them, and graduated on time because I was behind. I was failing. Girl, I had a 2.3. It was bad.
Hey, but you went through it.
Yeah. So that was the times I was focused on. But I think when we look back, we always look at the negative times if it was like something that negatively happened. But yeah, my therapist helped me see the positive in all of it. So, been doing better.
That's good. It doesn't sound like you have any regret, which is good.
No, I used to, though. I used to be like, man, if I would have stayed overseas. But then I think about it. I know God sent me to the States because I thought about it. I was like, I could stay overseas and go to college. But I would have been this alcoholic. I would have been drinking all the time. I would have just been chilling and partying and probably still been lost, not knowing what to do.
I look back on certain things, and like I never try to live in regret because it's like everything is a lesson and everything happens for a reason. God puts us in these situations to make us stronger and to learn from them.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I always asked, like, why me? Why this? Why that? And it's like, really, this is an opportunity for me to learn. So thank you.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes a little while to get away from the situation to see all the growth that's come from it. And girl, you've gone through a lot. You have gone through a lot.
Girl, we barely even scratched the surface.
Man, like the stuff that, people that are listening don't know about. Like, you're really strong of everything you've went through. And now you're here, married, have 3 freaking kids.
Yes.
I'm
And a
only
dog.
two and a dog.
She's crazy. She's wild.
Same. You're
Oh my
doing
goodness.
amazing. You're doing amazing, and you're doing amazing things with your kids. And
Thank you.
I feel like, if you get back to teaching, you're going to be doing amazing things with other people's kids and teaching
I
them.
loved it. I really did.
I think being in one place for me is like so hard sometimes.
Oh my gosh, it's like itchy. Like I get itchy. I'm like, all right, where we going?
I know we need to try. Like I have to travel like once or twice a year, and I just can't. I can't sit. Like I can't. I can't. Like it's so weird because you could see the same thing over and over again. It's great, whatever. But like, can we go see something new? Like let me go experience something.
Like I don't want it for my kids to have to go like move places constantly, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like I want them to be able to still see the world.
Yeah.
It's just, man.
It's how do we give our kids the life that we had so that they can be cultured in the way we were cultured, but not have the
Exactly.
trauma that goes along with it.
Exactly. And that's still an unanswered question because I ain't got no answers for that right now. Ask me again in like 10 years.
Well, come right back around. Let's go. Honestly, I can't answer it for you either, man. It's a weird one. Like, how do you just travel, I guess, and you share the world with them, but
then it's so hard to leave.
exactly.
So hard to leave when you go places.
It is. Like we went back to Belgium, I think last year, and I was like, ooh, I can see myself
I could
living
just
here
stay
again.
right here.
I was like, I can see myself living here again, like everything. But at the time, I was single, so that was easy. Like, who cares? Like,
You don't
there's
have
no
nothing to
money.
worry about. You just stay.
Yeah, things change over time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's weird. Like when you start actually considering somebody else's feelings and stuff like that. Because for me, I was in a broken home. I had examples around me, but like there wasn't in my own house. So like I'm learning how to be a whole new person while still being
It's hard.
It is hard as balls.
Because my parents didn't get together until, like I said, I was already in elementary school. I think I was in like 4th grade.
Yeah.
And my mom had been in and out of relationships, but my parents weren't really together at all since maybe I was like 6 months old.
Mm-hmm.
So my examples were very strange. I had to learn, and it's hard.
It is hard because when it's not in your house and it's not an example of like you see every day, and I would see it. My godparents, I would stay with them and I would see it, but like it wasn't in my household like where I would just go home and it'd just be me and my mom, and
Yeah.
it's so easy to learn how to be an independent woman and not need anybody.
Oh, I know.
But
that was my issue.
That was
my issue.
That's the transition I'm going through. Like I asked him, I was like, can you get the hamburgers out of the freezer? And he was like, yeah. And so it wasn't that he hadn't done it yet. It was just like I was like standing there. So I was like, okay, I'll just get him out of the freezer. No big deal. And he comes and he was like, I was going to get him. And I was like, oh, right. I have to learn. I have to learn. Like, if I ask, like, let him do it.
My husband still to this day. I mean, just yesterday we were leaving the house and I have 2 water bottles in my hand and some other things, a backpack and whatnot. Hopefully I did not freeze because you froze.
Oh no, you didn't freeze. But if I froze,
okay. But like yeah, the other day or yesterday, I had all this stuff in my hands. My husband keeps telling me, and he says it to me every time we leave the house. He's like, you can ask me for help. And I'm like, I could, but I don't need to.
But look at
all these. And then we go outside, and I'm standing at the car. I'm like, can you open the door for me?
Oh, you froze this time.
Oh, come on.
Okay, you're back.
I don't like Wi-Fi. Okay.
I don't like Wi-Fi. Who does? I hope one day like I can be able to like, travel and do these podcasts in person because it'd be so much better and easier.
Oh my gosh, that would be great.
It would be awesome. One day. You know, we're building it up. That's what we're working toward.
I was gonna say something, now I forgot.
You were saying you were carrying everything at one time.
No. I was gonna say something in response to what you just said.
Oh snap!
About traveling.
Oh.
No, I don't remember. That's all right.
The mommy. It's the postpartum pregnancy brain.
It's just the kids. It's just the kids in general. They done took my memory. That's all gone.
That's too funny. But yeah, hopefully one day we can take this thing on the road. It'll be amazing. It'd be a lot of fun to do.
Ever think about becoming some sort of like influencer?
In a way, like it's like that. Like I'm gearing toward like I do behind the scenes of recording and stuff like that. And yeah, but yeah, I guess that's what I am doing. But I just mostly want to focus on mental health, military brats, and young adults because
that's the crowd that needs it.
Yeah, because we don't have the tools to. Hi, cutie pie. We don't have the tools to do what we need to do. You know.
Yeah, I feel like looking back at, because we had a therapist or something, a counselor. I remember.
I mean, I was told. I knew we had one, but nobody talked about it. Like, I know Maddie went to a therapist.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, but like it wasn't really offered, really. Like
it just wasn't something everybody talked about. And I feel like if it was more, not necessarily pushed, but I feel like if it was just advertised, just like, hey, just so you know, this is where their office is. Exactly. This is who so-and-so is.
Exactly.
Like, I feel like maybe we would all still have our problems, yes, but I feel like we would be able to cope a little bit better.
Yeah, and that's the gap I want to bridge between everything, because I think there was I was looking up like stats and stuff, and it was like this girl asked 2,000 students that are military brats, like where would they put their self-esteem, and she was like only like 13, like maybe 13% said their mental health was high, and like the rest was like, I'm pretty sure it was like a good 53 to like 60 something percent. I can't remember it off my head right now. It'd been around since it's been a little while since I've looked at it, that like had low self-esteem. And that's in 2022 or like 2021. Like, so in that right there, when I read that, made me realize like how much the conversation was needed just to talk about it amongst military brats. So,
yes. How are you using like this podcast? Have you been able to show like that generation, this new generation podcast? Like, do you know younger kids?
So far it's been a lot of us of this our generation, which honestly is it's really good because we need it a lot as well.
Honestly, like I loved this. Like this felt nice to be able to like talk about some of the stuff that I went through, because like we don't know everybody's story, especially after all these years of like being apart from each other and not talking. Exactly. So I loved being able to do this, but also hear like the stuff that you're going through and like what was going on in college.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the whole point of it. Like just us having a conversation. I feel like people in the past, like that have asked, they've gotten nervous and they're like, I have nothing to share. But I was like, but you do. Like it's just having a conversation about mental health and our lives as military brats and the journey that has brought us to be where we are today and how we can continue to help each other, you know?
Yeah.
So But yeah, I mean, right now it is just kind of us, but it is kind of being pushed out because people do email me and message me and say, like, I needed to hear that, or I didn't know so and so was going through this at that time. Like, that, kind of changes how I looked at things going on back then, or how I look at my life now. And people are able to relate to different stories they hear. So it has
Yeah,
opened my eyes.
it's definitely nice to hear because, like, I've listened to the other podcasts too. I haven't listened to all of them yet, but I still like going back and listening to them because just everybody's gone through something different, and everyone's so hush hush about the things that they go through. Oh, I'm sorry, baby.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. She's adorable.
I know, right? I need that.
But last question I ask everybody. So your adorable baby girl can get her mommy back. Um, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Honestly, in 5 years, I see myself probably homeschooling all of the kids still, but really tapping into my marriage, really just focusing on us because when you have 3 kids, especially young kids, like you don't have time, no time at all. And I feel like because our first baby was our honeymoon baby, like right after we got married, that honeymoon, that baby came.
That honeymoon became a baby moon.
Seriously, but after that, like you just kind of don't have time for each other, and I feel like it's this goes hand in hand with mental health because you're in a relationship with somebody else and you have to live with each other.
Yeah.
But I feel like we'll be able to work on just like spending quality time and getting to know each other all over again. And I don't know. I just think that in 5 years, obviously, I'm going to be happy. I hope. But I feel like I also want to really work on my relationship with Christ because that reassurance thing that I said before, like it's definitely made me the introvert that I am today because I have a really hard time going to Bible studies and getting involved in the groups because that old me is like afraid of like, okay, what if I'm not smart enough to go to Bible study and like say something? What if I say something stupid? Or what if I ask like a dumb question? So it's like, I hope in 5 years that I gain that confidence. Like within the 5 years, not in 5 years, but like within the 5 years, I gain that confidence again to just like help me because I do want to get more involved in our youth to help out at the church. And because I already serve at our church in the youth, but I want to get involved with like the high schoolers and stuff and be able to help them with also their mental. Oh my goodness, I cannot talk. Their mental health because I know that it's hard, and I feel like if they're turning their eyes into the right direction, it'll help just a little bit. Even if it doesn't help a lot, I'm hoping that it helps just a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that. Look at all of us. See, it's just so funny. We've all gone kind of through the same thing, and like now we're all kind of on like a similar path of like
Yes,
helping out the next generation. It's kind of weird.
but that's what God intended us for to do is to tap into our next generation because we need. They are the future. Like we already went through it. Like the least that we could do is just help them through it.
I bet it's great.
You froze this time.
You froze too.
Oh, come on. Oh my gosh.
You were getting
Cannot.
it. You were hitting stride. And I said it too. I was like in the middle of it. I was like, I don't know what you're saying, but I know it's great.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
This has been fun.
I know.
Oh, man. Stay in touch, man. If you ever want to FaceTime me, I'm always here.
Yes, I do need to get your number because I don't have your number. So you'll have to send it to me.
Much to do.
I ain't gonna.
Oh man,
all I do is talk to my kids.
You keep
Google. I'm gonna blame Google.
Yeah, we're blaming Google. I'm gonna just stop the recording. Hey guys, thank you for tuning in for another episode on the Stories of the Dandelion podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please go and share it with a friend, a colleague, or even a family member. And make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms so you can stay up to date on when the episodes are coming out and what is involved in each episode. Thank you again for tuning in, and I will see you all next Military Brat Monday.